to the break room, to the men's restroom, take the ladies to the dock to pray with them because they tell me I can't pray on the workroom floor. There's always a thing that I could just take the easy way and say, you know what? All right, Jones, I'll call the girls up. I'm going to pray for you today. No, we're praying today. We're praying here within a few minutes. Let's figure out how you can get done with what you're doing, and we can get over here and we can do it. Why? Because God wouldn't have us together if He didn't want us to be obedient to what He called us to do. What our brothers say, you will know that we are His disciples by the love we show towards one another. If I just say, hey, yeah, we'll let the pastor pray for you when I get to church, No, we're called to pray for one another. You might be the only Bible they see. And sometimes obedience is not really obedience. Sometimes we just do it, just check the blocks. I got hooked up with this Way FM thing. Anybody listen to Way FM? They're doing a small group challenge right now. So you go on their website and you read a couple little scriptures and then you check the block and that you've done it and then you get some points and people then at the end of the challenge they're going to have a drawing so you can join them on a trip to the Holy Land. I was like, wow, Holy Land sounds kind of cool. I've always kind of wanted to go to Israel, but probably won't be able to afford it for a while, so this is an easy way of doing it. I love reading the Word of God anyway, but we've been doing it for like 6 days, and on day 4 this time, I'm like, check the block. Instead of being in true obedience and doing it, because why would I have gone listen to FM when they were advertising the Bible Challenge? God wanted me to be in one of those scriptures that He's going to give during that time of it. Now, I've taken it and just made it very, very lax. Today, days ago, I guess you could say, where this morning coming in and it was playing on the radio, and I said, you know what? I got to get back into obedience with God. Funny that I'm speaking on obedience today. Is this for me and me alone? So maybe it is. But when we just do things just to check the block, when we get up in the morning and we just come to church because that's what we do on Sunday mornings, and then you need to hurry up because the Broncos play at 2. I still got to go and cut the grass, and I got to do. And the Broncos will be there at 4. The Broncos will be there at 2:30. Everybody's got them little DVR things. You can record it, and you can just bypass the commercials, and you can see the whole game. Okay. So what does the Bible say about obeying God? Let's look at a couple examples. Acts 5:29. This is probably the hardest one, huh? But Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. That's probably a hard one for probably most of us, because why? We got bosses. We work for somebody else. And then you just start to think, I'm an open book. So I'm doing some work yesterday, and the supervisor came out and said, hey, you're making too much noise. The other employees are complaining that you're making too much noise. I said, well, this has to get done. Well, I'm sorry, they can't concentrate with what they're doing. I said, no problem. I packed up my tools. I put them away. I went down and sat in the break room. I can't do my work. What am I going to do? About halfway through that, I felt really bad. Because I know what? I am there to work to get a paycheck. Okay? So now today when I go in, I will work through my lunch to make up for that time that I took off yesterday and just sat on my rear end. But I'm going to prove a point. You don't want me to work? I'll sit in the break room. I'll watch college football. About halfway through, I felt miserable. I was like, what kind of an example is this? And we got to be, people are watching us. You know that? They're watching us all the time, And so I just wanted to fall into the way man comes. If I can't do my work, well, someone told you couldn't do your work, would you go and sit in the break room? Honestly, not just because Jack said he felt bad about halfway through. Most of us would probably just, well, if I can't do my work, I'm going to go sit down. Yeah, what else am I supposed to do if I can't do my work? I'll go sit down. So today I'll make up for that 45 minutes that I sat down there and just felt bad. That's right. I know that I'm there. I know that I need to work in order to get a paycheck. Why am I going to take a shortcut? I'm trying to teach people not to take shortcuts, and I'm taking a shortcut. So I fell into the manly way of doing it, the worldly way of doing it. Well, you don't want me to work? Okay, I'll pay me for just sitting here on my rear end. Not good. Not good. Like I said, I felt bad yesterday. Now, I know when I go outside on the way home or going to work today, Angel's going to say, you didn't have to tell everybody everything, Jack. But you know what? How do we correct each other? Because we know what's going on. Right. Hey, I mean, it wasn't a baseball bat. It was that real calm voice that says, is this being obedient to your bosses? Is this being obedient? Wow. All right, Lord, I'm up and out of here. I'm going to go, hey, you know what? I'll go outside and pick up trash. You know, I'll go do something else, but I'm going to be productive into it. But, think about the apostles. Look at it. I'm going to go back to fishing. Is that what God called you to do? To fish? No. What God called you to do? I just keep saying, I'm a light into this dark place. I'm a light into this dark place. And you know what? I became part of the dark because I went and sat on my rear end when I should have been working and being an example. So we have examples. Here's another one, Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, he also reap. Laziness, you get laziness. If I'm lazy at work, when I come here to the church and I say, hey, can you guys do such and such? Yeah, we got it for you. Don't worry about it. And we don't give good guidance. What happens? I sowed it, so now I'm going to reap it. Hey, he ain't around. We'll just go over here and sit down and eat donuts and drink coffee. He's not around. We got to be careful because what we sow, you sow a bitter old man, you're going to receive a bitter old man. You sow being an angry woman, an angry wife, angry sister, you're going to get anger back at you. We got to just stop that. Here's another one, Numbers 32:23. But if you do not do so, then take note. You have sinned against the Lord. And be sure your sins will find you out. What you do in the dark is eventually going to come to light. Eventually, whatever goes on in life, and you know they're not going to see me click the OK button. I'm all in my room by myself. You're right, you are. But eventually it's going to come out. It's going to slip out. I hope my mom doesn't hear this, but I had called my sister because no one knew I was coming home. I drove 15 hours, stopped at this truck stop, and called my sister up and said, hey, I'm in Des Moines. I'm in Davenport. How much further to get home? She said, about 2 hours. I said, okay. And so then I go in and eat breakfast and get on the road. I drive the last 2 hours. I get to the exit to where my parents' house is, and I call my mom up. I said, hey, you got the coffee on? She said, coffee's always on. I said, okay. I'll be there in 5 minutes. She said, yeah, right. I said, no, I'm about to go with them all. And she said some choice words and cut the phone down. Now, by the time I went from the mall to her house, which was about a 5-minute drive, she had called every one of my two sisters and my stepfather and said, did you guys know Jack was coming home? And they said, no. And so my mom still to this day still believes it, that no one knew. So we're at church on Friday night. Because I got in church week, we got there and we're go to church and they have a concert. I'm not much into concerts, but I said, okay, I'll go to church with you for this conference, for this concert. And we get there, and me and my baby mom. Yeah, now they're talking to Jennifer about coming home and everything. And my mom just looked at it and said, What'd you just say? I was like, oh, I texted Jenny when I was in Davenport to see how much further I had. You know, it came out.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to be sneaky, it still came out. Fellas, if you're doing something in the dark, it's going to come out. We got these traps that go, ladies. Y'all are a little bit more tonight, and Honey was the word. I'm sorry. Honey, you guys tonight a little bit better than what we can. Women can hold this up in, men can't. We just got to get it off our chest and move on. We're like still at second base going, okay, I'm done, and that. But, yeah, you're right. I know. I stepped into that one. But when we get to a place where we, what did Angel and Dominique was watching the movie last night, and in the movie the lady kept saying he's cheating on you, and it just popped in my spirit, and she was like, no, he would never do that, and she was like, well, I think he might. Well, if you think he is, he probably is. That's right. It's time to face the music and confront, and say, hey, there's something deep in my spirit. Probably most secular people ain't gonna know what you're talking about. If you say, I got to check in my spirit, or I got something coming up that just doesn't seem right, they're not gonna understand what you're saying. So you just got to kind of, maybe have to be blunt. Hey, are you messing around? And you eventually that's gonna come out. We watched The Save a Life on Friday night. That's about the high schooler there, and this kid, our best friends, and he and one of the other boy ended up taking his life. And there was a whole lot of stuff going on. He said, I'd never seen it. It was always done in the darkness. Always done in the darkness. So he goes through this young man committing suicide, his best friend, that he walked away from and ended up killing himself. He said, I never turned back, never looked. It was my fault. So he's got this guilt. Then he goes home to find out that his dad's been cheating on his mom. And it came out in the dark, into the light. So now he lost a friend. Now his mom and dad are going through this. And this kid's like, why is everything coming up now? Eventually, things are going to come out of the dark, and it's going to become brought to light. And you're going to be found out. Everything that goes on in this world that we think we've got a handle on, eventually it's going to burst. It's going to burst. Think about just a few people if they would not have been obedient. Noah. We'd still be underwater. We'd all still be underwater. We wouldn't even be here. He was asked to build a massive boat and people laughed at him. How many of us? Remember in Facing the Giants? You tell the coach, prepare for rain. Prepare for rain. And he walked up and down the school just praying for the kids. And the preacher man came in and asked the coach, what are you doing? You got to prepare for rain. You got to prepare for what's coming, what you're believing for. Prepare for it. I've been talking to Brother Jim about motorcycles. I mean, I really want one. There's been one on my refrigerator, a picture of one for 10 years. But I don't even have a license for one. So am I prepared to get a motorcycle? Of course not. But I've got $60 saved up so that I can go to that class and get my license. Because I know once I get my license, I'm getting me a motorcycle. Come that up, I'm getting me one. Not a tricycle. I don't care if it's a 250. I'm going to have me a motorcycle. I'll start someplace. You got to start somewhere. The light bulb came on, If I don't prepare for it, it'll never come. See, and Jeffrey brought something to our attention in the board meeting. If we don't prepare for it, it ain't going to come. If we don't make small steps towards it, it ain't going to come. Because what? You got to till the ground before you can plant a seed. After you plant the seed, you got to what? Water it. You got to weed it. You got to make sure You know, Miss Sandy brought them big squashes in. I don't know what kind they were, but she bring them squashes in to us. And